This episode of Beer Trek takes us to the beautiful Hawaiian island of Maui, also known as the Valley Isle. On the outskirts of historic Wailuku town resides Tradewinds Brewing Company.
Born in Oahu, moved to Maui when I was about 6 years old, and from there went to high school here, Baldwin High School.
Part Hawaiian brewer.
A real Hawaiian brewer, yeah, making real Hawaiian beer. Yeah, I qualify under the DHHL, which is the Department of Hawaiian Homeland, and I do also, we are working with OHA at the same time to help us with this company issue. But yeah, so.
I mean, that's nice to see, you know.
Yeah, it is really good to use my culture and pass it on to anybody that wants to learn how to brew beer.
Yeah.
You know, you got your big chefs from the hotels that they're making their own style. Well, I'm making my own style of a beer that what I know Hawaii people like, what I like here. That's why our beers are a little lighter, a little less hoppier than before, just to fit the market here.
Yeah.
People, the locals, they like the lighter stuff, definitely.
Well, and yet you haven't lightened up really, not in color anyway, your Paniolo.
No. We want to keep our Paniolo as our real full-flavored, complex beer with a lot of hops, a lot of, you can taste the chocolate grain in there. It's roasty, so we want to keep it that way as much as possible.
And yet it's not a kind of beer that fills you up. You know,
No.
It's not a heavy.
It's not heavy at all. Someday, hopefully, we can get to where we can do specialty beers, like heavy porters or stouts.
Yeah.
But at this time, I mean, you're looking at the cost issues involved in microbrewery. We got to really stick with what we have here and just try to make it good.
Well, you've had this pretty much the same lineup of beers since you're open.
Yeah.
Except the Kuepa, is that your recipe? Is that?
Yeah, Kuepa, I brought that in on my own. The recipe, the style of beer, which we just wanted to make it just an everyday type of beer, but with flavor, with the Hawaiian name in there and a cool looking label, sort of a different look of marketing away from the Tradewinds look, just to use our capacity of the brewery as much as we can.
And that's your number one selling beer now, isn't it?
Actually, yeah, we sell over 100 kegs a month to about maybe about 200 cases a month. We do sell more bottled beer in the Sunset Paniolo, just because we've been in the chain stores before with them. We don't have the Kuepa and six-packs yet, and that's one of the reasons why we don't sell a lot, but we do sell a lot of cases still out there. But yeah, Kuepa has definitely took us to the next level in beers.
Yeah, BJ, it's great to see you guys are doing well, and I just wish you continued success. This is truly Hawaiian microbrewery, and
as you can see, we're a small company. I'm half of it, and that's the way we got to run, small, and try to train. I like to bring in people that have never seen breweries before and educate them about the brewery, especially the locals around here. They're not really familiar with this type of operations, and I'm glad that I can use my my Hawaiian in me to spread it out and have them jump on the bandwagon and like our beer.
Hey, Beer Trek is here at Tradewinds Brewing in historical Wailuku, Maui. And last time I was here, Jim Fishwild was still the brewmaster.
and I was enjoying his famous Sunset Red Ale. Jim is no longer. He went back to the mainland, and BJ's has taken over, and he has taken the beers and tried to make them more consistent. And while they did take away about a couple of barrels of hops out of that beer, it's still one of the finest ales in Hawaii. It's got the malt sweetness still dominates more now than the hops used to, and yet the aftertaste, you do get a nice hit of hops right there at the back of the tongue, right in the end. I would say now the most distinctive beer has got to be their Paniolo. You just don't see a dark ale very much anymore, and they brew a very nice one here on Maui. Named after the Hawaiian Cowboys. It's dark, rich, spicy, wonderful beers here in Maui. You must try them. Trade winds.
Sadly, as a weatherman would say, the trade winds have left Maui. The microbrewery has closed, but brewer BJ Apia is now brewing part-time at Mehana Brewing in Hilo. There's no doubt we didn't go out. We went in to another brew pub, Fish and Game Brewing.
So we're at Fish and Game Brewing on the island of Maui, and we're up where all the resorts are, and we're talking to the brewer, and your name is?
Tom Kearns.
Kearns. And how long have you been brewing at the restaurant here?
Well, here at the restaurant, we opened a little over a year ago, about almost 18 months, and so we've been brewing since then.
And how much do you brew here?
Well, we have a 7-barrel capacity in our brewing system, and I brew about twice a week generally. More and more though as we're getting busier, you know.
Yeah, and what kind of beers do you brew?
Well, a little of everything. I like to believe that variety is the spice of life, especially when it comes to beers, and I definitely have a house ale strain of yeast and lager yeast that I keep alive with a variety of each of those beers. And then I also do a few others. I have a Hefeweizen that I do, as well as on occasion I'll do a Belgian. Right now we have a Belgian Abbey Ale, and I'm going to keep that yeast alive with a wit beer coming up. We'll be doing that shortly. But generally I've got a few yeast strains, and so definitely quite a variety of beers.
And what kind of hops do you use throughout all these beers?
Oh, I like to go with mainly noble hops. I find the better the hop, you know, the generally lower alpha acid, you can use more hops and you get more flavor to bitterness ratio, and it just tends to be a better balance in the beer. I think the Germans have found that out a long time ago, but I do use some higher alpha. I use a Cascade in our pale ale and also in our bitter, but a lot of the lagers I'll use American Holler Tower. I use in that American Tettnanger. I use in the Kolsch that we have, and I use Czech Sats hops in our Pilsner. I also use some Slovenian hops as well. So just some Slovenian Goldings.
You suppose hops would grow on the islands here at all, if someone tried?
Not that I know of. You know, it's the type of plant that needs a winter and a dormancy. And we don't have too much winter here on Maui.
We'll send you some from Chicago. We have plenty to spare, actually.
Well, you know, that wouldn't be. there are a few days in this hot summer sun that I could actually enjoy that just for at least half a day.
So what started you in brewing?
I guess the love of beer, mainly. You know, just the varieties of beers. As I got interested in beer, I also grew up in a winemaking area in Oregon, and grew to really enjoy the varieties of wines that they made, and I was kind of used to the idea of fermentation and all of that. And a good friend of mine's a winemaker. And just during college, I got into home brewing, and that was a little over 10 years ago. And I finished college and got a job in a brewery, basically like that, and worked my way up from washing kegs to running the brewery. I designed the brewery to what I wanted to have in, as far as offering in the pub, and that was to have a variety of beers, at least 10. And in order to do that, you really need to have a smaller brewery. Requires more work, but I make 7-barrel batches, and I just make more of them, and so I'm able to make a variety of beers and keep them on tap. Whereas if I had a 15-barrel system, I couldn't have as many because I just wouldn't have as much space to store all the beer. So that's essentially smaller, gives the option of variety. I must admit that I'm a little spoiled coming from Portland, Oregon, where most people know what they like, and that's usually a variety of different microbreweries, and everyone has their own favorite. And there's, I don't know, I lost track how many there are. There's close to 30 in the area there. And so the general public is well educated, and here they're not, in the sense of local Hawaiians are generally into the larger mass-produced American-style lagers, and you know, Anheuser-Busch and Miller and whatnot, and Coors Light. But slowly we're turning people on to a variety of beers, and what I have in mind is I can't compete with those beers, so I don't make them, but we do have them on tap and available, and I just believe that being bold and being distinct and offering people other choices, they'll figure it out, and they'll either check it out and enjoy it, or else they won't, you know. And we actually have a lot of people that come in, tourists and whatnot, that are seeking out brew pubs, and they definitely come right here, and they know what to do, and also a lot of locals too. And it's growing, you know, by the month. I'd say more and more people are becoming regulars.
Has one beer become a favorite so far?
Yeah, we sell more pale ale than anything, which...
The one I'm drinking?
Yeah, the one you're drinking.
Wow.
It's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
We started out, the Hefeweizen was easily our #1 seller by 3 to 1. And that's backed up. That's our #2 seller. Sell a lot of that too. And actually we sell a lot of stout too. I have our stout we serve on nitrogen, and so it's served in the classic Guinness style. And a lot of people come here just for that, because you really can't find a stout on the island like that.
We're in Island of Maui. This is Fish and Game, the only brew pub left on Maui. And we're sitting here enjoying beers at the bar. Next to some Japanese tourists we met on the way. And I'm drinking the Wild Hog Stout. Not sure where the name comes from. The islands are known for having their feral pigs or hogs around. And they taste better, I think, in Emu, but that's another story. Big, rich, served on nitrogen. One of the best stouts you'll ever find on the islands.
Drinking the Plantation Pale Ale. Wonderfully hoppy, fruity beer in the aroma. Medium-bodied, crisp, a lot of hop flavor, a lot of hop character. Good drinking, West Coast, way West Coast Pale Ale.
It may be a long drive to Fish and Game Brewing in Kahana, but it's well worth it. Just take my advice. Don't drive back. We were finished fishing for good beers on Maui, so we decided to trek to its smaller neighbor, the island of Molokai, where we discovered the brand new Molokai Brewing Company.
the Big Island before for 3 years. So I kind of wanted to get back to Hawaii. I knew that before I ever sent my resume here. And I was amazed, that there would be a brew pub starting up on Molokai, of all places, myself, as anybody is that walks through the door. And that's why I wanted to be here with some good ale, to present them with. And yes, you can get a good beer on Molokai.
Now, slow is short for San Luis Obispo.
San Luis Obispo, yes.
But Molokai is slow. So what's the adjustment been like?
Actually, it's not too bad. I lived Slow, which is considered a big town. It has maybe 100,000 people. That was the big town from where I came from. So actually where I lived was a town of 1,000 people, which is not much different than Kaunakakai. And, the main difference, of course, being the weather and just the way of life. It's just much more, I don't know, it is slow here, definitely. You know that, right? When you come out of the airport and it says slow down. And that's part of the reason I like it, though. I'm kind of a slower paced individual, so it seems to work.
How do the locals react to your beer now?
The ones that I can sway have really turned over amazingly. They've taken huge steps. They started on the mild. I brewed 2 batches of an English mild ale to begin with, as well as my pale, which is pretty, mild on the bitterness. I intensified the aroma and the flavor since being here on the. They drink the most Bud Light per capita on this island, more than any other island. So I had to start, with that in my mind. And I wanted to give them good stepping stone beers, to get into the microbrewery scene. And the mild really got them taking small baby steps, and the pale, a lot of them still like the pale. But they've progressed to the porter. A lot of them will just drink that porter and think it's the smoothest thing in the world, which just still amazes me because, some people won't like a bitter beer like an IPA with a hop bitterness, but they'll enjoy a porter with a smooth, roasted barley bitterness, and it's just the difference is wild to me. They'll call it the smoothest thing they ever had, and I'm just like, great, And everybody seems to find one, even though I have only 4 taps right now, which is really hard to get a good spectrum, for everybody to find one that they like. Everybody seems to find 1 or 2 that they really like, so that's a good thing,
So I've heard this place is almost a decade in conception. What are some of the recent problems that were with opening up?
Well, I got here, luckily, after most of that went down. But he did have a real hard time getting permits passed. It's real different here. Things don't change that quickly, and they weren't real keen on the idea of anything new, let alone being a brew pub. Whereas I think if it would have been called something different, it might have been a little easier, like maybe a Sam Choi's, with beer.
Yeah.
But Mike was pretty bold in the fact that he wanted to state the fact that we are a brewery, we are a brew pub. So Molokai Brewing Company is the way he wanted it, and he took a lot of slack for it. I think just for that fact. The first building he built was too close to a church and a school, so that's why the rug got pulled out from underneath him, and that really set him back a lot. But he kept persevering, whereas I don't think a lot of people would have in that situation. But he got investors, he had people that believed in him, and got what he needed to keep going at that point, and got this place going. And it's amazing, I think, how he got it done. Anybody would think so, just let alone the place being here on Molokai, but all the stuff that he had to go through.
Well, given that Father Damien was Belgian, I'm sure he's smiling in his grave right now.
And that is a good reason why I want to come out with a nice Belgian ale. I'm going to do a nice double style.
Ooh, all right.
Authentic Belgian ale.
Very good.
Yeah.
This is the Molokai the Molokai Pale Ale. This is an American pale ale. Lots of wonderful American hop aroma. Cascadey without being grapefruity. Wonderful hop flavor and bitterness through, a very clean bitterness, just enough malty sweetness to back it up. Nice beer.
And it's a good malt flavor, so I drink. It's just little sweet and little bit nigai, bitter from roasted malt. It's nice beer. So.
Oh, I like this pale ale. I want to homebrew, my homebrew. This, like this beer. I like this.
This is a Paniolo porter. It has a nice chocolate aroma, and it's also nice chocolate and coffee, like a malty flavor. I like this.
We're enjoying beer here on the sleepy island of Molokai. And everyone else talked about the beers. They're all very good. So I'll talk about one of my favorite snacks. Very difficult to find anywhere but Hawaii. These are French fries, but not your usual kind. This is sweet potato, and they are sweet. Well, aloha, Molokai Brewing. Great beer, great island.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You gotta come to this side so you have the bar on the background.
Sitting on one of the most remote locations in the world, Molokai Brewing is an oasis in paradise. Laid-back days at the beach lead to laying back a few beers at night. Only on Beer Trek.